Well, I was raised in a hearing world, and my parents, tried to have me be like a hearing person. They sent me to an oral school, and, I wasn't really raised within the deaf community and at a school for the deaf. And looking back on that experience, I was very lonely. I could lip read and I could speak a bit, but it wasn't like a hearing person, and kids made fun of me, and I suffered through that. And when I came out of that into the deaf world, I found a place where I was comfortable, that was my home. And I think often hearing people feel like a deaf child could become like a hearing person, that's not them living their best life. They'll be most happy being who they are, which is being a deaf person and signing and being comfortable with their deaf peers and living without oppression. I'm happy being here. As a, my parents didn't want a deaf child. My dad didn't want to have a deaf child. They weren't really sure what to do. They weren't sure what to do with me. They wanted to do, speech therapy and figure out, what to do. And what ended up happening was lack of education and lack of access to information, because everything was focused. For a huge part of my life, it was all about trying to learn how to move my mouth and say things in the right way. It wasn't about education and actually getting access to information. And it wasn't until a long time later that I met somebody and got access to sign language, and then got access to the school for the deaf, where I suddenly could just completely open up the horizon in terms of what I could learn and academics. And I feel like it was a huge waste where I was all focused on just speech therapy versus actual education. It's like you're only focused in on the mouth versus all of the other education that you could be focused in on.